Okay. So, starting off with something light and not so serious, who's your favorite woman hero and why, not including your family?
Who's my favorite woman hero? Woman hero. Oh, that's a good one. I don't know. How do I pick? You hot. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
It's so hot.
I've just been running around all day.
I know. Here, I'll put the fan over towards you.
Thank
This
you.
office is always, it's an oven.
It does smell good, though.
A woman hero. I mean, there's the obvious choices, right? Like Rosa Parks and all that. But I'm thinking of like a not obvious choice. You want? Is it someone famous or does it matter?
It could be anybody that you just look up
I
to.
think that for legal, I have two. Then, if I'm going to do like from a profession standpoint, Judge Denise Clayton, African American Court of Appeals judge, has been a district court judge, a circuit court judge, and now is Court of Appeals. Brilliant, great temperament. Started out working out for like an attorney for the IRS. Always available. She's been on the bench for like 20 years. But she's just a class act. So when people hear her name, they know who she is. They know what she's about. So I definitely deem her to be one of the reasons I can sit where I do. Mm-hmm. She paved that way. Then the other one would be Kim Green. She's an attorney that went to UK law and was one of the first female attorneys to practice in Louisville. Mm-hmm. Really get into it. And was just really amazing labor and employment attorney, very aggressive, and was able to do so and not worry about what names she was getting called. So I left, my first firm to go work with her at Dinsmore & Shoal because I just admire her that much. So I would say those two people.
Before college, what did you plan on doing?
Be a lawyer. Yes. I've known I was going to be a lawyer since I was 7.
Really? My grandpa was an attorney, great-grandpa, and he was like, he was the attorney for the city, and he did, he ran for the Metro Council. I don't know what he did, but he did a lot in government. Yeah. And I guess that's why I've had a passion for it ever since, because he's just in that role model to look up to.
That's awesome.
And then, what work and motivation did it take for you to get the position that you're in now?
Work and motivation. So first you have to be a lawyer and practice for years. For my particular seat, I was appointed. There was a vacancy created by we had several judges retire, and because of the vacancies, then the governor was in a position to appoint to fill those seats. So I was appointed July 1st of 2009 by Governor Steve Beshear. After that, in 2010, I had to run to keep my seat, so I had a full-blown election. So what did it take to do that? Elections are not easy. It's county-wide. It's a year plus of campaigning, and it's not just like going out and, people will see on TV, going out and like kissing a baby. Campaigning is so much more than that. It is, sorry. This should not, sorry. So it's a lot. It's very involved. So being able, and then you still work in your same job, your day job. So I would have court in the morning. We're on call every 17 days for 24 hours. We have night court. If you're on call Monday through Friday, you have night court on those nights. So you do your regular docket, and then you come back to court at 7 p.m. to do night court. Every 17 Saturdays, you have in-jail arraignment. So the job is already consuming, and then you throw a campaign on top of that. So having to be very determined and thick-skinned, I would think, are the two qualities to get the seat. To keep it and be good at it, I think, requires compassion, good listening skills, and not just hearing people, but listening to them. Being able to make a quick decision and leave it behind you. And I think that those would sum it up. Oh, get the sun on your face.
You're good, thank you.
Okay.
And then, did you receive any help along the way of your journey to where you are now, by a mentor, a parent, teacher, counselor, etc.?
Oh, of course, yeah. Along the way, my parents were very supportive when I was younger, and supportive until, always. But my parents were very supportive. I always believed I could do anything I wanted to do. I always believed if someone told you no, you just figure out another way to get to yes. Always. Yeah. And I teach, unfortunately, my daughter, who's 5, has learned that already. And that's a great skill, except when you're 5, because what Jacqueline will do is then have a workaround, right? And so my husband and I have to have talks. I'm like, honey, that's a good skill. She's doing a workaround. So she hears no, and she listens, but then she's like, well, let's figure out, well, could we do this instead? I think that's good negotiating skills, and I think that's what you need to survive in life, is to not accept the first no. So she doesn't irritate me with that, but it irritates my husband. So I think having to, we're in an interview. Let me see. Yeah. Is this in hospital?
No.
No, they're up there.
Yes.
Juliet. Sorry, hold on 1 second. Doing a mental inquest.
I apologize for interrupting.
Oh, let me learn something now. That's scary. Just the 2, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Courtney. Appreciate it.
Thank
Thanks
you
for
so
bringing it in.
much.
All right, thanks.
Sorry.
Absolutely. Okay. So, learning how to get to a yes, even when someone tells you no. I've had several mentors. I've never been afraid to reach out and ask for help. And also, you need to branch out. Like, when I was at a law firm, I made sure that I had mentors at the law firm, but also mentors who did not work at the law firm. So I think you need to make sure that you expand who your social circle is, because then you are able to gain more just in life.
How was your overall experience in school or university? Were you the only woman in your class at universities, and did you feel like you were the only woman in the room ever?
No. But being the only black woman, yes. For sure. So, not growing up, I grew up military. So military, everybody's everybody. So that was not an issue. I didn't experience anything with race really until I went to college. I went to Western Kentucky. And,
really? That's where I'm looking at.
Yeah, Hilltoppers. Yeah, go Hilltoppers.
Yeah.
I went to Western Kentucky, and it was great school. Had a great time. But I remember that was the first time I ever heard the N-word. And I was like, what just happened? Like, I called my dad, was just crying and so upset. And I just perhaps I had been judged on my color before, but I didn't know it. In the military, it's more class, like social, rather than race. You could care less what color they are. It's, where do you fall on the rank and fall, right? And that's just the military way, which is nice, because diversity is just a given. So I never felt like the only woman in class, but I've definitely been the only black woman, or definitely only black person. Was there a second part to that, as far as like how I felt or something, or?
No, you mostly answered all that one.
Yeah, okay.
How do you think your professors envisioned you?
How was my profession envisioned me?
Or how did your professor?
Professor.
Yeah, what would your professor say? I think this of Erica Williams.
Oh, let's see. Well, it depends on where you go. So in law school, they would say, what kind of person? I'm very tenacious, confident, stubborn, determined, smart, a lot of drive. I'm known kind of for being a driven person. So I would think they would say that.
And did you have any female professors, and did you have female professors that supported you or helped you meet your goals?
Absolutely. Dr. Penick and Dr. Minter, both at Western Kentucky. Dr. Penick taught, I'm old. I'll be 40 in March, so you're having me go back a long time to think about my college professors. But that's how much they meant to me. They stick out to this day. Dr. Cassandra Penick and Dr. Patricia Minter. Penick was that, you want to go back to heroes, that woman. Jesus. Put her on my hero list. So we're sitting in logic class, and it's still recording. Okay. We're sitting in logic, and it was like the first day, and so the class at that time was about 30, maybe 40 kids. This is in college. And she was known for being a tough teacher, like a horrible teacher, as far as being hard on you. So that made me want to take her. So I was in that class, and I've always been drawn to very strong women. If I may, just a side note, when I was in law school, my first summer job, I worked at a law firm, and they said, don't bother Taft McKinstry. That's her name. Taft McKinstry. Like, the name itself is amazing.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Don't bother her. Well, that is an invitation for me to go bother you. Because I want to know why they said she doesn't mess with summer associates. Because she hasn't met me. So I go knock on her door, and she was one of the first women to practice bankruptcy law in, like, the state, period. Like, she had that to my list, too, that woman. So I knocked on her door, and I was like, and she looked over at me, like, am I lost? And I was like, hi, Miss McKinstry, my name's Erica Lee at the time. Erica Lee, and I'm a summer associate here, just want to know if you ever need anything, and, you know, blah, blah, blah. She's just staring at me like, why are you in my office? So I just was smiling and just walked out, and then I would see her in the hallway, and I'd say hi, and, you know, do all this other stuff. So then one day we're sitting, they used to keep us like in the library, and we're sitting in there, and she comes and she stands in the doorway, and she was like, do you want to go to court with me? And so the other summer associates look up, and then I look over, and I was like, me? She was like, yes. And I was like, yes. So I grabbed my stuff. She's like, well, come on. So she, like, walks off, so I'm, like, grabbing my stuff and, like, chasing after her. And then I got to work with her on some really cool deals. And so we would be there. She would order pizza, and we would be there. But I got to know her, and she taught me a lot just about, too, what it was like for her to be a woman in a field that was led by men, and then in an area that's even more complicated. You know, so it's not just law; it's bankruptcy law, and what that was like. She was just amazing. So I love her. But Dr. Penick, sit in logic class, known to be very difficult, and someone raises their hand and says, "Mrs. Penick." She was writing on the whiteboard, and she put her pen down, like, slow, and I was like, oh, my God. I knew what was going to happen. And she turned around, and she was like, what did you say? And they were like, Mrs. Penick? She was like, I have worked too long and too hard to be Mrs. Anybody. My name is Dr. Penick. And I was like, I love her. So I remember calling my parents. I was like, oh my God, she is amazing. So, like, everybody's mortified. I think this is the best thing that I've ever seen. I tell the story still to this day. It is one of the most awesome moments that I've witnessed of some woman just standing up as if you are not going to call me. I worked hard for this title. And no one would ever call a man Mr. anything in college. Ever. I mean, that just doesn't happen. They know you have a doctorate. That's why you're... So it would be Dr. such and such. And so it doesn't happen. So she totally called him out on it, and it was brilliant. So the class got whittled down to, like, 10 of us by the time she got done, you know, people being terrified. And then she had asked me to take an advanced class, and so I would be in graduate level logic. And I was like, yeah, no, you're going to mess up my GPA. So I did not enroll. I'm in another class. Dr. Penick comes to the door. Tells the professor she needs to see me. So I'm like I'm in the class. Like, what? And she's like, so I see that we had talked about you enrolling in advanced logic and you didn't sign up. I said, no, we talked about, but I told you I wasn't going to sign up. She's like, well, I signed you up. And I said, you can't do that. And she's like, I did. You're enrolled. And I'm just looking at her in the hall, and she's like, our first class, whatever day it was, and gave me a copy of the syllabus and walked off. And I was like, I'm going to kill her. So I was so mad about that because I had taken several logic classes with her, and so she wanted me to do, and I had done like a graduate level, she wanted me to do an even harder one than that. So I did it, and I did well in it. But it taught me too, like, she wasn't going to let me coast, and even though I'd already done a graduate level class, she knew I could do more, and so she wasn't going to let me be mediocre, and she wasn't going to let me, in what was mediocre for me would not be mediocre for someone else, right? But and I would say, well, such and such has it, and she's like, yeah, but you have more in you than that. Meaning you can't compare yourself to other people because you're 100% or you're 50% because to be somebody else's 100%. She wasn't going to let me do that. So I took the class. It was a night class even. It was at night. And did well. And then she was amazing. Then Dr. Mentor, when I was studying for the LSAT, would help me with it. And I would go to her house. And we would sit and go over these, you know, worksheets. Back then, we didn't have the computers like we have them now. It was a big deal to get on a computer back then. Yeah. So everything was written, and so I would go to her house. But she helped me apply to law school. She helped me with all of that. So without Dr. Mentor, I wouldn't have I wouldn't have gone to law school because I didn't know what to do. I knew I wanted to go, but I didn't. She walked me through the whole process.
How do you feel working in your job now? Do you feel fair treatment between you and the opposite sex?
Fair treatment. Well, as a judge, you are there's really no one to treat us other than, like, you know, in a work setting, right? Does your boss treat you the same? We don't have that. Yeah. So in mine, would it be the public? So am I seeing, I think that I have to command a courtroom differently. So use Judge Bowles, for instance. Mm-hmm. He and I are very close. That is Jacqueline's uncle, my daughter. That's his uncle, and he's one of my best friends. Judge Bowles is an amazing judge. And I've never heard anybody call him Mr. Bowles in court, ever. I've been called Mrs. Williams, and I have my Dr. Penick moments, and I correct them. I don't go through the spiel, but I do correct them. It's Judge Williams. So that kind of stuff doesn't happen to men. I think, too, as a woman, when you rule, when there's two lawyers going at it, and they're older gentlemen, and you rule, they have more of a tendency to come back at you and try and continue talking. Whereas with a man, they ruled and it's done, and everybody knows it's done, right? But for us, it's like, well, let's try this one more time. And so I've learned to say, I've ruled. You can appeal or do what you need to do, but I've ruled. We're done, and then move on. And so you have to, in order to, I guess my point, Taylor, is in order to have the same treatment, the problem is you don't get to act the same, and you always have to command that. It's not a given, whereas it's given for men. If we go somewhere, one time we were going to an event, and they, I don't remember if I was speaking or what it was, or I was going to sit at a special table. So we come in, and my husband, or I said, they said, what table? And I said, the table for, and I just said, Judge Williams. And someone walks up and shakes my husband's hand and says, Judge Williams. And he's like, he's 6'4", so he points down to my 5'1" self and was like, that's Judge Williams. Right. So those kind of, people say, what do you do? And I just usually say I work in the courthouse. No one ever will assume I'm a judge. Yeah. Which is a good thing. If I start looking like a judge, you need to tell me, because then I need to retire, because I can't start looking like a judge. But no one will ever expect that. And so to be treated fairly, you have to command that and act differently. And then if you're too aggressive, then you're seen as all the hateful names that women are called, because there's a true double standard that still exists to this day. But my daughter, I teach her, and she will get into trouble for just very few things. One is if she says she can't do something, and the other is if she tells me something is for a boy. Boy colors, boy toys, boy movies, and I have beat that into her head. And we were playing the other day with the little boy, and he said he was pretending to be something. I don't remember what it was. And he said, well, girls can't, that's what it was, football. Girls can't play football. Girls can be anything they want. She screams at him. And I was like, because you don't know if they're really listening to you. Yeah. I can play football. I could be an astronaut. I could be a doctor. She's 5 years old out there. She'll be 5 next month. And she's out there yelling at him that girls can be anything they want to be. And I was just so proud, because every once in a while she'll slip up and say blue is a boy color or something crazy. And I correct her. Yeah. But she absolutely hears me, because when he said it to her, she was offended, and I loved every minute of it. And so I think you have to learn, for women, young girls, you have to learn earlier about what it means to command your space, what it means to command respect. And it's hard for us, because when you do that, then you may be called something. And so I've always said, I don't get into labels. I don't care what you call me. I don't. I can be a B word, I can be this, I can be that. I don't get into labels. Nor do I adjust my mannerisms to comport with whatever. So what I mean by that, angry black woman. You can call me that if you want to. I don't care. If my white counterparts said the same thing I said, they wouldn't have a label other than maybe being called the B word. But I don't care. I just do me, and I think, so for same treatment, no, it's not the same treatment. Amongst colleagues, yes, I think that our profession is fine. It's not from within. Like in some companies, how it would be from within. It's not from within. All the judges are very respectful of each other, and we get along great. It would be perceptions by the public.
Yeah. What are some of your future plans and goals in life?
To raise a productive and responsible society, or member of society, my daughter. Mm-hmm. It's very important to me the kind of person she becomes. It's very important to me that she has compassion and confidence. And I think you need to have them equally as much. You need to have as much compassion as you do confidence. So that is a big goal of mine. It is in my life, pretty much, is I need her to be able to do whatever she wants to do and know she can do whatever she wants to do. So my number one goal is her, and priority is her. So my goal for her is just to become productive. As far as professionally, I don't know. I like what I do. I like that I interact with people all day long. Today we had an 80-year-old man. They were trying to evict out of his apartment. He's been there for 10 years. And I'm like, we're not doing that. And because he had paid, it was just, there's a whole bunch of other circumstances. But I said on the record, at some point, compassion and common sense have to come into a scene. Yeah. And that's what I'm going to do here. Like, this doesn't make any sense. And legally, yes, you can do all sorts of things, but that doesn't make it right. Mm-hmm. Who was that? I don't know who that is. That doesn't mean you should. Just because you can do something doesn't mean you should do it.
And then lastly, do you have any advice to your high school self and to other young women now?
For women now, surround yourself with positive people, but keep the negative people in your circle because you don't want to get the big head. You need to remain humble and hungry. You need to continue to push yourself at every turn. Yes?
Judge, wait a minute. I'm so sorry. Rob down here.
Yeah. I'm finishing up an interview. I'll be with you in just a second.
Yes, of course.
To push yourself at every turn. And in high school, I would say continue reading extra things, right? Because I think women and girls don't read enough. I wasn't good in math, and there was nothing I could do about that. I tried, but I wasn't. So and to look to careers in math and science. I think that's the way for the future, and coding and doing all the kinds of things that are seen to be for men. So to all the women out there, to know that you can do it if you just decide to do it. And don't just have a plan, have a path. So you can plan all kinds of things. I want to be this, I want to be that. How are you going to get there? Have you thought about that? If you haven't thought about that, you're going to fail. So you can't just have a plan. You got to have a path to that plan.
And then I have 5 more. They're like easy questions, so I didn't know if you wanted.
Hey, Rob, you want to come in real quick?
I feel like everyone that comes in here is scared of you.
I'm really, really sorry.
You're fine. Come on.
Yeah.
What is this?
This is on for Thursday. I wanted to move it on for Friday because I'm on court on Thursday.
Okay. Does this belong in 102? Or is it in 102?
It's in 102.
Okay, it really is a 102 case. Okay. Do you have any idea what the numbers look like on Friday?
No.
Is it going to be horrible?
I don't. I'm hoping not.
I hope not either. But we're combined Monday, Tuesday, and today. The whole courthouse.
Okay, well, hold on. So it's on for Thursday, but I wanted to put it on for Friday.
It should be okay, because Thursday would be the day, I think, that I would follow what happened.
Yeah.
Okay, so that is the 23rd?
Yes.
9 a.m. and 102?
Yes.
Okay.
Good Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thanks so much. Good luck.
Have a good one.
Okay, and then I'm talking to some men and women for my project just to get both perspectives for it. So these are the questions. There's only 5 of them. They're pretty easy. I'm asking both the genders because I have a set of male questions and I have a set of female.
Okay.
So these are them both of them. So,
okay.
According to Merriam-Webster, feminism is the belief that men and women should have equal rights and opportunities. And do you agree with this definition? Why or why not?
Do I believe that men and women should have equal opportunities? Well, you're asking that to a military brat. So, do I think that my sister, who's a lieutenant colonel in the Army, who was retired, do I want her on the front lines of war? No.
Yeah.
Absolutely not. Because she's my sister.
Yeah.
But do I think if she wanted to be on the front lines, should she be able to? Rock on, if that's what you want to do. So, yes, I do think that men and women should be treated equally, especially when it comes to professional settings. But, it really translates over more than that, though, Taylor. So as a working mom, right? So if I have to bring Jacqueline to work because school's closed or whatever, then it's like, Judge Williams can't get a babysitter. If my husband brings her to work, he's freaking father of the year. Oh my God, what a great dad! It's the same child. I have 50%, he has 50%. It's the same child. If he changes a diaper, if he does whatever, it's all of these, great, amazing things. Your husband is so. I checked people on that, and I remember when I was pregnant, and someone said, "Are you going to come back to work?" And I said, "Yes, but Jason's not." And they would look at me. And I'm like, right, because see how stupid that sounds? Would you ever ask my husband if he was going to come back to work after his baby was born? Mm-hmm. Like, you would only ask me that. So those kind of things I don't let people get away with. So we should, but I'm just so thankful I had a girl.
Yeah.
Because I'm determined she's going to be a rock star.
Yeah, it sounds like it from what you told me.
Yeah.
Do you consider yourself a feminist?
No. I just consider myself a believer in fairness and common sense. Yeah. And I have little tolerance for petty and bull. Mm-hmm. So no, I don't label myself as a feminist, but that goes back to what I said. I don't do labels. Like with my child, I've always made it clear to everybody, do not label her. Do not say she's hyper. Do not say she's this. If you want to, assign some characteristic to her, then that's fine as long as it's positive. But we're not gonna do labels. We don't do labels. She's a girly girl. We don't do labels. And everybody in our lives know you do not label Jacqueline unless you want to hear the wrath of her mother.
Mm-hmm. It's funny that you said that because all the women that I've interviewed, they are like, I don't put labels on myself. But the men, when I ask them that question, they're like, yes, I consider myself a feminist. So it's kind of funny seeing both sides of it. But
that is very interesting.
Side point.
That is very interesting. That's a good side point. That's not surprising.
Yeah, it's not.
But interesting. Mm-hmm. So there are studies that show when it's, a man and woman go interview for the same job, woman could be twice as qualified as the man.
Right.
And the man, when they say, what do you want to be paid? The man's going to say, use a round number, $200,000.
Right.
And he only knows $75,000 worth of information.
Right.
The woman who knows $300,000 is going to say $100 because we always devalue. And that's like all the studies have shown that's what happens is when you ask a woman, it's always going to be less than. And that is something that I can't preach enough is to know your worth. And men embellish it. And for women, I just want us to at least get to where we're, commensurate with where we are, right? I don't need you to embellish it because, that's a nice, I think that's men's ability to have unfounded confidence is amazing to me.
It is.
However, it is a good thing. And I want more women and girls to have that, right? To just walk into a room like, yeah, I'm amazing. I mean, it's just astonishing to watch them. Mm-hmm. And I'm married to a very humble man. But even just like I said with the whole thing with Jacqueline or anything, the differences, the expectations are just so stark that it is mind-boggling. And I would say too, Taylor, being a working woman and being a working mom, many more differences as a working mom. Because not only are you compared to men, you're compared to non-working moms and women who work that don't have children. So there's all these different things you are trying to keep up with if you let it. I don't care. But you're compared to that, right? Mm-hmm. And so, I don't know, it's just very interesting. This whole project, I like this. This is good. This is very good.
And then, do you feel like the representation of women in government is particularly low in the U.S.? Why or why not?
Yes.
And do you know what percentage of women make up U.S. politics?
I do not know that. I know that here we have Attica Scott as our elected.
Yes,
and that's
I had an interview with her.
She's amazing.
She is.
But it's sad that in 2016 you can say that's her name. Not that you know her name, but there's only one. Yeah. For us, we have our Secretary of State.
Allison.
Yeah, but I'm thinking, is there? I think when they did this hierarchy, they were showing us as far as elected officials and where they rank. So it was Allison, and then I think Judge Clayton, or no, Elizabeth Hughes, the Supreme Court Justice. And then you would come down. So for minority women, excuse me, there's a different one. But we don't have that many women. And do I think that's a good or bad thing? Is that what it was?
did you feel like it was low?
Yes, I do feel like it's low.
Yeah.
And I think that if we had more women, we'd have less problems.
Yeah.
However,
Yeah.
women also can be our own worst enemy. So, very quick to point out somebody else's faults. That's another thing about men. The other interesting thing about men is if they have a friend that's good at something, they brag about it.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever noticed that? Right?
Yeah.
They're quick to tell you who they know, what that person can do, and how awesome they are. For us, I think because of a whole host of things, but sometimes we're short to do that. We're very, you don't want to say that you know this person or whatever. That's a woman that's amazing in her field, and that that's multi-layered as to why that happens. But I think there is a lot to learn from men, and not because they're any smarter than us. It's just they're brought up differently, and so if people would look at it, I've always said, like, for instance, Jacqueline, do not buy her a toy vacuum cleaner if you're not going to buy her a toy screwdriver set. So Jacqueline has a full kitchen in her playroom. She also has a Black & Decker, Stanley Black & Decker tool workbench with all the tools, and she can name all the tools, versus a wrench or a plier or a flathead or a Phillips. She can name all of them. A saw, she has all of that. She has a toy vacuum cleaner, and she has the kinetic little things that go together and they spin and do whatever. So she's got like these science stuff. I've just always been very careful with, and we buy Jacqueline boys clothes because it's like some athletic whatever. It's cute, and what I show her is, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. You can wear whatever you want to wear. I don't care. We saw two women in Costco. And they were together, married, I assume. And she's like, "Look, mommy, two mommies." I was like, "Yeah, isn't that awesome?" Yeah. Like, it doesn't matter. It doesn't care. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. So, no, we don't have enough women in politics. I understand why we don't, though, too, because it takes a lot to run. And you're asking a lot of a person to do that. I mean, like, my stuff is like a quasi-elected official. Because we have so many limitations as judges. I'm, the full-blown Attica Scott people that have, Lord, bless them all, because... the dirtiness, all of that, for some parts we have to stay above that because we're governed by different rules. They're just down in the gutter, right? They're just down in the gutter, and it's just okay and acceptable. Look at the presidential race right now.
Right.
So
much.
So much. Yeah. I went and got, in honor of Skittles, you heard about this, Donald Trump Jr. today. I went and got a bag of Skittles today. Just as homage to Skittles everywhere, and that they're not Syrian refugees. I cannot believe that you said that. I did. I sent it out to all my friends. This race is just sickening.
It is.
But when Jacqueline sees her on television, I say, "Who is that, Jacqueline?" "President Hillary Clinton." And I say, "Very good. Who is that, Jacqueline?" "President Barack Obama." "Very good. Who is that, Jacqueline?" "Mr. Trump." "Is he going to win?" "No." And I say, "That's right."
Vivian loves Hillary Clinton.
I know. She got to go to that.
Yes.
I know.
She absolutely adores her.
I know.
She tries to give me to campaign with her, and I would, but I'm always doing something.
Yeah. No, Hillary Clinton. That years and years and years and years ago, she came to Kentucky. Not even close to here though, and she was on she was doing like a rally, and we were supposed to have. And this is back. I mean, I had just started working, so didn't have any money, and Jason had just started working. And so Hillary Clinton's coming, and everybody knows I'm obsessed with her, right? And so, but as a judge, you can't have, your political whatever, blah, blah, blah. But I love Hillary. Okay. So she came to this event, and you had to pay to go. And if you paid, I think it was $500, which back then it could have been $10,000 for us. I mean, it was just like a big deal.
Yeah.
But we got the money, so I could go and sit where I wanted to sit. Not only did I sit where I wanted to sit, they then came out to the crowd and picked certain people to come up and stand behind her. And I was chosen.
Oh, wow.
Taylor, lost it. So they called me up, and so we're all standing there. And so we're standing behind her as she's giving her speech. And literally, you could see me on TV. Like this the whole time. And then I'm standing behind her, and I'm just like freaking out.
Yeah.
So then she comes, and she shakes our hands. And I'm thinking in my head, don't pass out, don't throw up. Don't pass out, don't throw up. So she shakes my hand, and I said, "Don't pass out, don't throw up." I mean, oh my God, my name is. I mean, it's just, I freaked out. Oh, she is amazing.
Yes.
She's amazing. So I share Vivian's passion for her, and David. You know, I remember she sent me the pictures and stuff for her. I was so happy she got to go.
Yeah.
Because I told him I would take her if she needed me to. But he was able to, work that out. But Hillary Clinton is just
Amazing.
she
And
is
the fact that like she not only is she running, but she's like doing it again, even though she
Right.
also sounds like she's
That's right.
keeping going. Like,
Exactly.
That's amazing.
Exactly. And on top of that, all the other stuff that gets said about her.
Yeah.
You're just criticized if you laugh too hard. If you, I mean, it's just, it is, it is unreal. It really is. So Donna Brazile, love her. I think she's an amazing woman. Joy from CNN is coming here to do a luncheon, and I'm going. I just got my tickets yesterday. I'm super excited about that. So all these smart women that are shaping our future is amazing. We don't have enough of them yet, but I'm going to revel in the ones that we do have. But in 2008, when Hillary ran, I was going to, if she had won, I was going to quit and go try and work for her in D.C. And I didn't care if it was for free. Like, I had to be there with her. She didn't. But then I got my button that said, Hillary's for Barack, so am I, whatever that button was. I wasn't against him. I just have always loved her.
Right.
Always. And then Michelle Obama. I mean, come on.
Yes, Michelle Obama.
It's Michelle Obama. She set a new standard for everybody. But how cool is it? Bill Clinton's going to be our first gentleman. I don't know what. But who better than it to be but Bill Clinton? So, he has to win. People got to get out and vote. They have to win, so, I don't know.
And then, this is just some statistics. So women make up 51% of the U.S. population, but only make up 17% of the government. And the U.S. ranks 98th in the world for percentage of women in its national legislature, with Rwanda being number one, having 49% of their government being made up of women. And if the U.S. stays at this exact rate of women being represented in our government, it will take 500 years for us to catch up.
Sounds about right.
Yeah.
That's horrible.
Yeah.
Have you seen Suffragate? You need to watch that. It's the one about women's suffrage, and the woman that can't remember her name, but kills herself for the cause. But
she starves herself. Is it?
She jumped out in front of a horse.
Oh no.
Yeah. So they were starving themselves. So it's the same. It's the same group of women, right?
Yeah.
And so they were starving themselves, and then they would stick tubes down them and force feed them.
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
Okay. So then the woman that ended up becoming the icon. I'm just blanking on her name. I'm terrible with things, but I'm blanking on her name.
Susan B. Anthony.
No.
Oh, the girl who rode the horse.
No, the one who stepped out in front of them. Hold on.
I don't even know.
Hold on. You got it.
I don't think I learned about her in school.
You're gonna love. You need to watch this movie, and then at the end, they list countries where what year they allowed women to vote, and Afghanistan is above us. I mean, it is insane how long, when you watch these credits, how long it takes for the U.S. to come up. I always knew we were far behind, but I didn't realize. So when you have to see it like that, and the way they do it is just profound, because they're doing the names and they're slow coming, and you're just looking, and it takes forever. It takes forever for the U.S. to come. Hold on 1 second. She is amazing. You need to know this woman's name. I will never remember it because of bad things, but I know her story.
Sorry, I hope I'm not taking up too much of your time. I know you have a lot on your plate.
No.
And you know what else I learned this year? It's I have a lot of friends that go to public schools, and they don't learn about women's history in their schools.
I believe it. That's why Jack wants that
And yeah, really?
Yes.
My mom went there.
Did you really?
Yeah.
I'm not from here, but I just
So Prez is constantly it's so important. We learn about it all 4 years of high school, and I just love I didn't learn all this in grade school.
Right.
And it's so amazing now we're learning it just now,
Right. What is her name? It's not in the little recap. She steps in front of the horse. And it runs her over.
Oh, wow. And kills her?
Yes. And kills her. And she then became, so they had this big funeral for her, and she became, is it Violet?
Have you seen the Suffragette?
Yes.
Because I'm thinking of, it's the one with Elizabeth Cady Stanton, and they're talking about Susan B. Anthony, and what's the other one? Lucy Burns. And because I remember some girl in the movie died. I just don't remember who she was.
Yeah.
And I think that's who you're talking about.
I think that's what it is. Suffrage. Yeah, I think that's.
Because I have seen that one where they force feed.
Yes.
And it has the when will the trail be broken song, whatever. I remember that. Because I've seen that one.
Meryl Streep. Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so at the end of this, the girl gets run over, and so then the movement turns into her name somewhat.
Mm-hmm.
This movie is.
And they go to prison, right?
Yes.
Yes, I've seen this one.
And then he gave her son away.
I might be thinking of something else. No, I'm thinking of oh my gosh, it's called Something's Angels.
You have to see this.
Yeah, that one sounds good.
You have to see. It is amazing. It is amazing. It is amazing. It is amazing. It's so well documented, and just to see the treatment of women and how less than, like he gives away their son when she goes to prison. So it's amazing. You would love it. Watch it and then tell me what you think about it, because it's awesome.
I will. And then, in what ways do you think society can better motivate girls or women to actively participate in leadership roles in our society?
Having mentors out there more available, and it goes both ways, right? So there's many of us who are willing to mentor. We just have to have the participants that follow up and follow through. So I think that is the biggest. I think the biggest you will be what you can see. So you got to have more of that, and we need to see women in these roles. And we have women in these roles. We don't have many in some areas, but we have them. And so we need our girls to learn about them and to have classes that teach about, women's rights and teach about equality. I took classes, in law school about women in the law, and just different things to learn. And people are quick to label you as a feminist or whatever, but it's just all about equality. Because there's not even what's the name if there's no positive name if men are for all, for men. You know what I mean? Like, this doesn't exist, because there's a reason there even had to be created a word of feminism.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So I think just to keep on mentoring and girls continue to branching out into areas that are not normally girl driven, women driven.
And then this is the last one, but if this was your project and you had to create an art piece that represents women in government, how do you think you'd best represent that? Because for me, I'm doing that door. I'm pulling things from it. But how do you think you would?
I think it would be something that still would somehow show still an evolution. And it would be kind of far back. So I would have like the scheme of evolution, right? And say there's 7 steps. I would have us at like 2.5, 3, just to show how much further we have to go, and then put other countries that have passed us on the same chart of evolution, and do it that way, because we're still evolving, and as long as we keep fighting, but it just depends on this next election. It will change us forever,
right?
In one way or another,
right? So,
you have to look at those kind of things, and how far back will we be set, and the fact that they're still having to fight over maternity leave and people saying you're on vacation. I mean, just craziness,
right?
Craziness. So I would have an evolution chart,
yeah.
and show those who have passed us and show how far we have to go. And then I think I would do some kind of a faint image to show if we finally succeed to that goal, what that looks like, and probably put a picture of my daughter at the end. So I would want her to be able to be all you can be, type thing.
Those are all the questions I had.
All right.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely.